Oh, hey guys, thank you for joining us for another exciting episode of YOML. This is the Year of Magical Learning episode today. So today we are on this random, like, part one of two, part two of five, whatever. So this is
Yeah,
another random, but it's still a two-part reflection. So I think this is a good one to kind of talk about. I think it has some good benefits to us as if we can immerse yourself in it. So let's talk about the next one. Chris, you want to introduce the reflection?
yeah. So it's funny you mentioned that just about the books and how they get all. So it's this section of the Your Magical Learning that's kind of all over the place. Specifically, I multiple things have happened at this point in the journey, right? Number one, I've finished all the original books that were that had been read before this journey ever started, before I started the writing journey. So for the first like year and like 13, 14 months or whatever it was, before I started the writing journey for Your Magical Learning, I had finally caught up to all the books that I had read before that, mixing in with the new books that were being read going forward after that, right? So that was point number one. Point number two was with Will Smith's book. If you remember that one back in a
Jazz, just yeah.
yeah. But I allowed myself for the first time to break my own rules, and I wrote instead of just a one book, one reflection, I allowed myself to write a 3-part reflection for that one because I was like, I just really liked it and kept writing it. So now I allowed myself mentally to say, look, if I have multiple thoughts on a book and things I learned, like just write whatever I want to write. So that's the second part that's happening now. And then the third part is I had told myself from the very beginning I had designated 5 books that I was gonna write a 5-part reflection for. And that was all the ones I was gonna write a multiple reflection for. So now that I had finished all of the books, the initial books, like now I was going back and I was writing my, part 2, part 3, in between mixing in the new books that were being finished. So all those factors come together to be where you're at right now in the Your Magical Learning journey, where we're at on book 198. So you're starting to see a lot of this kind of choppy, like part 1 of this, and the next tomorrow it'll be part 4 of this, and the next week after that it'll be 3 of 5 with this. So it's like I was just going through all these and writing them down as I was mixing them in with new books. Does that all make sense? I guess.
I mean, I think it makes sense. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, a lot of times, uh, some people because the way that I think if you do a 5-part reflection
You
and
should just do
each
it all at once.
reflection kind of tie no if it's independent of the other ones,
Right.
then it should be fun. I have no problem with it because if reflection is just a lesson that we want to learn or get inspired to try,
Right.
and so as long as they are completely stand alone on its own, I think
Yeah.
that's completely good. It's just that you name it one of two or whatever, people think that it's connected in a way, and
Right.
so they may get confused and say, okay, it says part 2. There's something else I'm supposed to get out of this uh, reflection and lesson
That's
for the
fair.
day.
So it should be like reflection 1 of 2 or something.
So
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
I think like the book itself isn't shouldn't be the leading in the
Well,
title because
yeah.
reflection is reflection. It
Right.
happens to come from this book,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
happen to come from the book multiple times.
Right. Yes, I agree. So as once this book officially becomes published, someday, we'll
We
adjust it to
just
say
remove the one
reflection.
of
Yeah,
two and four, five, and
it'll
five of
it'll just be
five. It just
reflection 595 and or three or reflection 198. You know what I mean? Instead
mhm.
of yeah. No, I agree with you. So you know, we can always clean those things up as we go. No big deal. Either way. So
No,
the
I was just mentioning this so that the viewers don't
yeah,
wait and search for something else. And hey, it should be okay if you're doing a book study to kind
right.
of go and find all the reflection for that book. But if you only following along on the journey, to kind of say this is reflection 1 or 2 isn't really, accurate, right? Because it has nothing to do with the reflection part. It's just each reflection is on its own.
Yeah, no, it is. Actually, well, I say all that to say this one's actually one of those that's actually tied to another reflection too. So it's a but I get what you're saying. So this particular book though, just diving
You
into
gotta prove me wrong.
I will.
Just after I said that, you should gotta prove me wrong. Hey, it's not it. Yeah, it's connected.
This particular one is connected because of the monthly challenge that as well that went on. Gosh, I'll just get to the reflection. So the book is the Wim Hof method, Activate the Full Human Potential by Wim Hof. So if you don't know who Wim Hof is, Wim Hof is known as the Iceman.
Iceman.
Yeah, so he's this, I guess, an extreme athlete, I guess, if you want to call him that.
I would say he's an extreme human being. Whether or not he's an athlete is, I don't think he participate in organized events of an athlete. I mean, he does, run around in the heat and submerge himself in the cold.
He's an endurance athlete. I mean,
but that's
what
what he does for his own desire. I mean, so he's not competing with anyone,
No.
So when I'm thinking of an athlete, they say, hey, it's a tennis player playing with another tennis player, a football player play with another team, and an athlete in that sense. But for him, it's like he's running alone on his own in the hot desert across the country,
or up Mount Everest, with no shirt
and
on,
he's by himself.
Shoes.
So he's an athlete of one.
Right.
So he's competing against himself versus kind of like the normal meaning of an athlete.
He's like man versus nature is really kind of what it is. But anyway, so he's a unique dude. He's a really unique character, and he has a methodology that he calls the Wim Hof method. That's basically about helping to train your heart, and making and using cold and breathing techniques to stress your body to help you to challenge yourself physically, and to help you to control your heart rate, to help you to regulate stress and regulate emotions and regulate body temperatures and a lot of other things, right? So this is Wim has a he's a man on a mission. He really believes that this can help people and can help change people's lives and heal people and a lot of other things. And there's a whole lot to unpack with Wim Hof. On the surface, if you just saw his like a YouTube video of his, you'd probably be, what the hell is this? And to be fair, I'll just dive into the reflection. That was actually my initial first impressions of him. So the reflection title of this one is Now We Go Into the Cold. So if you remember, over the past couple of weeks, we've been doing Wherever You Go, There You Are. We've been doing the Swedish art of death cleaning. We've been doing other reflections about, meditation and calm and whatever. And like I told you, I went on this weird kick for like a month and a half, 2 months or something like that, where I was, using my monthly challenges for death cleaning and for, letting go and for the Wim Hof method. I don't know, like there was something going on in my life. I don't know what it was like, but it was telling me to slow down and to focus on the here and now a little bit. And that was what I did. So this particular book, as we all know, the universe always brings stuff to us for a reason, right? Like we talked about with the first book, right? With The Alchemist of, when you want something, the whole universe conspires to make it happen. I didn't even know that I wanted this, but apparently I did. I was seeking this stuff out. So my first impressions of Wim Hof, just to be clear, like I don't know about you, but like I hate the word life hack. Like it drives me nuts. Like I just hate like when you see like on social media, like, oh, this is the life hack for health and beauty and success in business and whatever. This is another life hack, another life hack. It makes me honestly want to vomit every time I see it, because I'm always like, just like face palm, of people are so stupid. Like there is no life, there is no hack to life. Like, I mean, there never will be, there never is. And it's just not possible. Like it comes with a lot of the stuff that we've been working on, which takes a lifetime, like to quote unquote get to where you want to go. But there is no hack to life, and the reason why I bring that up in conjunction with Wim Hof, there was a lot of idiots and yahoos out there in the world that use Wim Hof as a life hack, right? Where they're like, like, oh, I used to, they have like their staged photos on LinkedIn, and, like in the ice bath, and they were like, I practice the Wim Hof method. I got to learn how to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and I never get sick anymore because I practice the Wim Hof method, and you're like, you're like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, and you're just, I don't know. It's just another gimmick of people that just want to tout themselves and talk about themselves, and, tell you what, why them hopping in the cold bath one day, 1 week, changed their life or whatever. Like, and you're like, just shut up, So like, I like, for me personally, like, this is my first initial exposure to Wim Hof. And I'm like, this guy, every time I hear this shit, I'm like, this guy, whatever, this is such a joke, So I have just a natural aversion to these things in general. And I remember Blake actually telling me about Wim Hof, telling us both about Wim Hof a long time ago, like two plus years ago. And I was like, yeah, whatever, like, I don't know. I'll check it out if I want to. Like, I'm not really that curious, So how did I even get to Wim Hof then? You're after you hear all that, you're probably like going like, how did you get to Wim Hof? So in the book, on this journey pointed me to a book on this journey pointed me toward Wim Hof. So I was reading Running with Sherman, and Sherman's training partner. Sherman is the donkey. For everybody that doesn't know, Sherman is a donkey that was training to run a Pack Burro Race in Colorado, because he was on death's door and he had no purpose, and they gave him purpose by running. And his training buddy, Zeke, was looking for ways to make sure that he did everything he could to show up with Sherman, so Sherman could run the race of his life, kind of thing. And he knew that he was going to be stressed at altitude in the cold in Colorado, and he wanted to try to prepare for that. So he had heard about cold immersion therapy and ice baths and whatever, and the Wim Hof method, and he mentioned Wim Hof, and they were studying. He was like, it helps you to stress your body, helps you to recover quicker, helps you do this other stuff. So he thought, well, if I maybe tried these cold baths, every day, maybe this will help me to help train better with Sherman. So there was a part of the book where they talked about they would go into this cold creek every morning, and they were just would sit in there as long as they could, and anyway, they ended up all kind of liking it and enjoying it, and they thought it was kind of helping in general. So I don't know if it was the book. It felt like a good friend. I love that book, and it felt like a good friend telling me, like, hey, maybe you should look into this, or if it was the fact that I run a lot these days, if I was, more curious about, how would it help my own performance? I don't know. Whatever it was, maybe I was just feeling like I needed to connect more with the here and now. For whatever reason, this book found me, and I was like, okay, I heard it and Running with Sherman. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. So I downloaded Wim Hof, the Wim Hof method book, and I tried to find out what this dude was all about, and actually what I found was really, really interesting. Wim Hof is not much different than I am in a lot of ways. He experienced a very traumatic, painful event with his wife committing suicide, and that's what really drove him into the cold, trying to find a way to process his own pain. And through doing that stuff, and him dedicating his own self to figuring out his own balance in life, right? That was how he ended up coming to this stuff. And he tested a lot of different things out, and he tried a lot of things as he was trying to figure out his life again, of being a father to 4 children and a single father after his wife had gone insane and committed suicide, and he was lost and trying to just figure out his way in the world. And this is what led him to his methodology. And he's been doing it. This isn't just some gimmick that he's been doing. He lives this. He has his, as Nassim Taleb would say, this guy's soul is in the game. It's not a joke. Like, I mean, he really feels like he can help people, and he has a purpose in life. And this is how he's going to try to spread that message. The reason why he does extreme things is because he wants to get people's attention, so he can help them and share his purpose with them. That's the only reason why he does the shit that he does. He's not about like gimmicks and whatnot. He does it to help push the purpose of helping other people to find their purpose and heal from pain and things like that. So I found a lot of commonalities and connections with the guy, obviously going through what I've been going through in my life. And I thought, what the hell? Like, I trust Wim. Seems like a good guy now. I appreciate reading his book, and I appreciated his story. And I said, what the fuck? Let's do this, So I took a monthly challenge, and I did the cold shower challenge and his breathing challenge. And this is part 1 of that, of how I came to Wim Hof, and and just more about his life and the connection there. And and part 2 is there's results of that. So part 2 is going to be tomorrow, actually, but so we'll talk about the results, and kind of my overall thoughts about it. However, for today's reflection, you know, going into the cold, and you know, the reason why I wrote that title is it just reminds me every single day when I would take the cold shower, when I first started trying this. I mean, I'm not going to talk about it because I'll talk about the actual stuff yesterday, or tomorrow. But you know, I would always tell myself, like, you know, now we go into the cold, like, you know, just preparing myself, you know, like just do it, you know, like just suck it up and go, you know, and it was just what I would say to myself right before I stepped into the freaking cold water, and it would, you know, and then you went, you know, for the, you know, and tried to just hated it and wanted to get out. Anyway, so yeah, I'd love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wim Hof has a I guess a point to how to really expand the human potential, and even what he did, right? And the things that he has subject his body through, kind of proves to us that our body, it is incredible,
Yeah.
right? And the thing I take away from this is that our body, one of the special characteristic of our body is its ability to adapt.
Yep.
Right. And so when you see people go into the cold, right? When you see people doing the heat, you know, running in the heat, you see people like doing like things that normal people don't do. And you know, like he I think like one time he get some medical professional to inject him like some kind of E. coli, something like that, and
Yeah,
have
it was
his
some kind of
body
a
trying to
bacterial
fight it.
infection.
Yeah, some kind of bacterial infection that he'll allow his body to fight it. And the thing is, you have to understand that the I think the method that he's using isn't all this, you know, witchcraft thing, because you have
Yeah.
to, if you understand the science behind it, because I'm saying before, you know, I am as a human being, right? It's been conditioned to live in a humid and hot environment. So when I'm conditioned for that, that's my natural habitat. In that environment, I feel normal. I don't sweat. I don't feel hot. You think about it, right? But a person
Yeah.
who isn't acclimated to that environment, you know, a lot of the, you know, people in the north, where, you know, of the United States, they come down in Houston, or they go to, you know, the East Asian country, the Vietnam, the Thailand, the Cambodia, right? They sweat profusely.
We melt.
But I'm saying is, so why is the difference? The difference is that we have been conditioned for that. So you
Yeah.
look at like so whatever that your environment is, when you get to a certain level, your body is gonna adapt to that and make that the normalcy. And so when you're talking about, let's say, remember we were talking about, you know, the heartbeat, right? Do you want the heartbeat to be high or will be
Yeah.
low, right? So to
Yeah.
me, it's not about having a low heartbeat or having a high heartbeat.
It's regulated.
My my I guess my theory is that it is much better to have the ability to raise it up and to decrease it. Let's say you run like you run fast, really fast, and you're chasing something, and your heart elevates to 150. The moment you stop, right, that heart rate should come down in the next 30 seconds to a minute, right, from 150 to like
Right.
100 to like 90. But if you have a body that cannot regulate that, then your body doesn't have the range it need to defend. Like, because you're talking about, let's say somebody who isn't conditioned for the range, right? So when you don't have the condition for range, your temperature, your normal temperature is going to be at a certain small range, maybe, you know, I guess 70 to 90, whatever. And then when you get to like 95, you get a heat stroke, and then you start to go delirious,
Right.
and you might die from it, right? You put me into a 120-degree, I mean, it's like, it's a little bit hot, but it's no big deal. You know what I mean? So And then you talk about me going from me going to like Alaska, right? I can't survive that because my range is not that far.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you
you
think about
can. I mean, you can survive it, but
no,
you don't want to,
no,
but you
no,
can.
no, 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 no. You have to understand this, Chris. I know this, okay? Because
You wouldn't
I
die in
can't.
Alaska just because it's
No, no, no.
cold.
You won't die. You won't die. But this is what happened because I came from Vietnam, right? Vietnam is very hot and humid. It's even more humid than Houston.
Yeah,
So when I go from a hot country to a cold country, right? At fucking 75 degrees, I get a cold. You say so the thing is, if I were to go into the 0 degree at when I was in my own climate, right? I go
yeah,
to 0 degree. I mean, I probably have the worst cold that it lasts forever, and it may take me out of my put me on a stretcher, put me in the hospital. Because you
sure,
think about it, you
sure.
get to the danger zone. So you think about what Wim Hof did is like he is conditioned to be in the heat at 110 degrees because he runs, in the heat, which is his cap on, he's shirtless, his cap on, he's run, and then he goes and immerse himself into the cold. The thing is, what he did isn't to go and jump into the cold. He conditioned himself first with
Yeah,
the
oh,
with
yeah,
with the finger, with the hands, with the feet, with the body, and then with longer, right? So he's gradually letting his body acclimate it to the
mhm,
conditions. And then
yep,
whenever that condition say, well, if at 0 degree, your body is used to it. It doesn't go into this like flight or it's trying to protect you. So it's going to shut down a bunch of things. It go into this emergency crisis mode, right? And that creates a bunch of other spiral thing that creates put you in a hospital, put you in a stretcher, put you sometimes kind of put you out completely, right?
right.
And so if you get if you get your body to acclimate, or basically in another word, you are training your body to handle those extremes. And
Hmm.
once you have the extremes, like he can go from one place to the next place, and it's still normal to him because his range has been expanded. So
Yeah,
just for the code aspect of it, he is completely more versatile, more powerful of a human being than the rest of us. That's
yeah,
just
I
the
agree.
co-immersion alone. And then you take in the breath, right? The breath hold. Right? The breath hold is gonna give you even more because your body is being conditioned to optimize the intake of oxygen and use it efficiently. And
Hmm.
so whether or not he have a bunch of oxygen, or whether he goes into the mountain where there's less oxygen, or whether he's in the water, he needs to hold his breath for like 6 minutes, right? He could because he was able to do that already. So like I say, if you look at the science behind how your body is able to adapt, then it makes complete sense in what he's doing. And so you look at his body, right? He's able to combat the bacteria that was injected into him because his body has been conditioned to exercise and to fight these infections. All
Right.
because you're talking about like going to the cold, right? The cold exposes to different set of bacteria that normally would have survived in a certain temperature. So
Right.
the Wim Hof method to me is very scientific, and I think it does wonders for us. If you think about making yourself more versatile, more flexible, more powerful, just having the ability to be completely like not dependent on a certain narrow range of environment. You can survive in multitudes of environment, multitude of conditions, and even drastic changes. So even the drastic changes that kind of swing back and forth, I mean, it doesn't affect you because a lot of times, like a lot of people like in America, right? We get a lot of like the flu in the fall. I
Hmm.
mean, that's why you have flu shot, and I mean, flu
Yeah,
shot is prevalent nowadays. Why is that? It's because when the cold front comes, the bacteria that lives in that climate comes with it, and it touches you, and then you get sick because you're not conditioned for that bacteria. But you know what I'm saying? So it's not that you can't survive the bacteria. It's just like, hey, your body is weaker. It couldn't handle it. Every time it comes, it has to kind of like reset itself, trying to learn that thing, trying to get itself ready for it. And so that's the thing, is when you have the ability to go and condition yourself back and forth in a larger range, even when a cold front comes, the cold front, the temperature and environment condition is still within your range of comfort, or your range of you can handle you to handle that range, right? And so that's gives you, like, whenever the cold front comes every single fall, right? You're not one of the victims of the flu. You say, well, I'm still healthy. I'm not sick because my body knew how to handle the bacteria and the viruses that comes with that environment that comes in. Because you think about it, I mean, the flu shot is so I guess it's so prevalent nowadays. Everybody's, I mean, like, the majority of the population gets a flu shot every season, and sometimes it took like multiple shots in a single season.
Yeah, I mean, our body regulates our insides with heat and cold, obviously, right? Like, that's why we get fevers when we get sick, it's because we're trying to force ourselves to pump our blood harder, faster. That's why when you get panic attacks, like, your body heats up, your heart is controlling.
Right, but the thing is, your body has a certain threshold that it'll trigger and go into panic mode.
Right, exactly.
If you say, like, for example, like, you can probably survive 3 minutes without oxygen, but if you hold your breath, right, for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, you start to panic.
Yeah.
Okay, your body goes into that mode. But if you condition yourself, your body won't. You say, hey, yeah, I can still be able to handle this set of environment or criteria or whatever it is, like, no problem. But if you don't train it, it will go into crisis mode, and it will do things it shouldn't. Like, maybe it goes and it shut down your organ, it shut down your eyes, you can't see because you blacked out. You think about it, if you hold your breath, right, you blacked out.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it starts shutting down a bunch of things. The thing is, and the act of shutting down these things actually put you into a downward spiral.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
No, for sure. I mean, I think one of the things that I've found most fascinating with Wim Hof in general is how he came to this. What I mean by that is, I don't think any of this has anything to do with, you can come up with whatever scientific reason you want to come up with. It doesn't matter. Like this is one of the reasons why I don't necessarily love like science as how we call science, because we're just looking for reasons to justify why we feel the way that we feel, which is fine. All I know is Wim Hof, the stuff feels good. Like, when you take a cold shower, you feel better. The pain, this is about exploring pain, is what it is, in my opinion. This was Wim Hof in pain, and he was exploring pain, and he wanted to find a way to embrace it, and to figure out a way to how do you embrace pain?
Enduring. It's enduring, because the thing is, you come from an atomic bomb. The pain is so it's so deep, right? That cold shower is nothing.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about. I mean, I remember you talking about the book, the hot things, the things about hot things or whatever, right?
Hard things about hard things, yeah.
Right. And so to you, it's like, you say, what the hell are you talking about? For you to say, hey, I have to. The hardest thing for me in life was to decide to lay off people. It's like, that's not a hard thing, right? Because your perspective changed.
Right.
So when you have this deep pains and sorrow, right? For you to stay in the cold, I mean, shit. I mean, it's like nothing. You could do this with your eyes closed.
Well, you find it forces you. What happens, and I mean, I'll definitely talk about it tomorrow a little bit more. But like, for me, what happens in the cold in particular, and also when you're holding your breath, it forces you to go somewhere. Like, or sorry, you want to go somewhere else. Like, that's what your natural inclination is, to try to run away from the feeling, and you can't. Like, you just have to fucking figure out how to embrace the feeling in the moment. And then that's it. Like, you just have to figure out how to embrace the feeling in the moment, and control your breath, and control yourself, like, and absorb the pain, like, and then when you're done, then you get the rebound effect, benefit of it, of basically a dopamine hit, of you did something painful, and you get to go up from there, and it's a dopamine hit, and it's a long burn dopamine hit. It's not like when you go do a line of cocaine or something like that, like immediately you have regret. You're like, oh God, why did I just do that? Not, I mean, I've never done cocaine. So I like, let's say, you're gambling or something like that. Like, after you place your bet, and you're like, you get this huge dopamine surge. And then afterwards you immediately are like, why did I just do that? Like, what was this is stupid. Like, you get nothing but like negative you get this huge flush, rush of I guess good feelings, or something positive you feel like is an adrenaline rush or whatever it is, right? Like that dopamine hit, and then immediately you're like going back downwards, and it feels awful afterwards, right? Like with like the cold showers and the breathing, everything going forward feels great, because you're like, oh shit, like I did that, and I absorbed it, and I embraced the pain, and that's why I said, like, now we go into the cold. Like I had to.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't. I mean, for me, I think it's different. I don't. In a way, I don't actually like hate the cold, because I don't actually jump into the cold shower, right? And for me, is so I'm not going to say, hey, I'm going to completely jump into the cold shower, like make it cold and jump into it. I don't do that. I don't do that at all. What I do is I just start to go to the comfort temperature, and then start to slowly make the cold, it get colder and colder and colder, right, until it's maximum cold, right? And the thing is, that is a gradual adjustment and transitions, and your body isn't as shocked. You can shock it if you want, and I think shocking it has its benefits, but having to be in a cold, right, just by the fact of being in cold, but I in my mind, it isn't cold, because it's not like I turn
it's not cold.
But at the same time, right, it does have the lasting effect, because the cold shower gives your body a little more strength. You feel much more, I mean, like lighter and more like energized. Just because
I actually feel warmer. After a cold
shower.
I
mean, I go out and it's warm. So thing is, what I did isn't like the shock of the cold. So I don't like hate the cold shower. I mean, to me, it's being normal, because I don't actually. So I adjust it to little by little.
Oh, I know what you're saying. I've definitely done that many times. I only do that when I don't want to like embrace the there's something to that initial shock of just turning it all the way and just jumping in and figuring it out. Like that's what I'm talking about, when you're forced to just figure it out. Like I initially started to try to meditate my way through it, where I would try to go to somewhere with like Amelia.
But isn't that a little bit of a struggling? Isn't that a little bit of eating the frog? I mean, to me, as you want to give yourself something that you can do, like without thinking. It's like breathing. Can you do that without thinking? That helps you This is
the point for me, is like, I don't want to do it, but I also know that it is a little eating the frog when you do it that way. But this is something that I want to eat the frog for. Like, I found value in the pain, of embracing the pain from both of these activities. I don't like it. Like, it's not like I look forward to it. Every fucking time that I turn that goddamn shower to the cold, and
that's what I'm saying, is
I go, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. You
gotta yeah. I mean, you still have to pick the part that you like. I mean, we talk about Snow, right? Let's say talk about Snow. He loves to teach, but he hates his job, because there's certain part of his job that is not what he wants. And so there are certain things that, if it's, to me, isn't about trying to, like, hey, there is value in teaching, right? He likes to teach the kids. He loves it, but he hates his job because he don't want to do all the admin stuff along with the job. So there are certain part of the concept or whatever ideas that you do, is you don't have to embrace it just because it's part of the package, right?
Oh, I wouldn't have kept
I just want the things that it's good for me and that I can do without having to struggle. And that's my thing. It's this is why I keep
this is a
I
fundamental difference between the two of us. I want to struggle through this, is what I'm trying to say. Is I want this. One of my core values is challenge yourself,
right.
right? Like,
I think
and I
that's the
want
big
to struggle
difference
through it.
between me
Like
and you. It's
right
like
is
you are looking for pain so you can grow. For me, say, hey, it's you can still grow without the pain. I know pain is a big driver, but I don't think pain is the only one. And that's
no
been
no
my
I
theory
agree.
from the beginning.
Like, to be fair, like the breathing side of everything, I don't feel pain when I do the breathing side. Actually, the breathing side of everything is very relaxing for me. I really enjoy it. I really look forward to there's well, I don't want to share my thoughts on on how I feel when I was doing this stuff, because I'm going to do that tomorrow. But like, I have to separate these two. Like, the cold is pure pain, and I'm just suffering through it, and until I don't suffer through it. And then the breathing for me is more a relaxation thing now. I actually just really love it. I feel energized when I'm done with it. I feel relaxed and energized, and I'm like, oh man, this feels great. Like, I feel fucking great. I'm
Yeah,
like,
but
man.
what I'm saying is I'm not gonna eat the frog just
Oh,
because hey, the frog may, you know.
this is what I'm trying to say. Is I'm not saying this in a good way, because I don't know the right words yet to describe what I'm trying to say. But Wim started this because he was in pain. He was trying to uh, like he was trying to ease his pain, and he sought out more pain to ease his pain. And through
Right,
that
right.
seeking
You
out of
basically
pain, he
you
found
distract the most deepest pain with another pain. You distract you for a while, right?
right.
You jump
And
into the cold or whatever. Your body is trying to process, and it occupies that neurons
but this
in
is
your
what I'm trying to
brain.
say is you do process, like, I can't really describe. I don't know how to even describe it. Like, it's one of those things
But the thing
where
is, that's what I'm saying is
um
it's going to be different for different people.
it
For
is, yeah,
you,
yeah,
you
yeah.
have a searing pain that you need a distraction from, so you can jump
It's not a
into the ice bath.
distraction. It's not a distraction. It's more of a reminder. Honestly, it's more of a reminder, if anything. It's a reminder. I mean,
But
like that.
back to what I'm saying is different people can be different, and
Yeah, no, that's
so
fair.
so it's all about the individual persons and how they can use the reflections for themselves.
Right.
And we have to kind of put it into the perspective of what good would it do for somebody to take these lessons and incorporate that, because some people, right, for Wim Hof, like his basically, like, let's say we build a ramp for a disabled person to go up, but that also benefit the non-disabled person
Mhm.
much, even much more, right? And
Yeah.
so Wim Hof, he discovered this method because he's trying to find some answers for the pain he's feeling, but not everybody's going to have the level of pain that you and
Oh, I
Wim
agree.
Hof
Yeah.
will
Yeah. Yeah.
encounter. And so you're probably a black swan event.
Yeah.
Um,
No, no, I agree. That's why I said this was weird for me. It's different for me with the way that I view, like, the cold shower. This is a way for me to. It's almost a reminder of pain.
right.
And
And it will be difficult for people to understand unless they
right.
really knows your story, like intimately. And
Right.
that's the thing is people may not understand you, and they're gonna look at you as you look at Wim Hof before.
Right. Yeah. 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 No, for
It's
sure.
like
I
I
mean,
don't understand what this guy's
yeah.
trying to say. Yeah, I hate it, but I love it. It's like, what do you mean? Can you clarify what do you mean by you hate it and you love it? Yeah, if it was good or whatever. That's the thing is people are going to say, well, I just don't. I can't connect the two. But for a
Right.
person that is in your shoe, yeah, I know what he means. You know
Right.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I think having to kind of give you that, having you giving that account is a good basis. But at the
Right.
same time, it's not going to be the same for everybody else. But everybody else needs to have some other sense of, if I were not in his shoes and I'm in my shoes, Wim Hof, is it something that is usable, is beneficial, or is it?
Yeah. I mean, you would look at it if I wasn't. looking at it this way, I would look at it more of like on a scientific level of like, how does this help me with my health? I don't really care how Wim Hof helps me with my health. I like the activities for how it makes me feel personally.
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying is, a beaver must dam,
right,
a lion must roar, whatever the
right,
thing
right.
is. For you, you're a different animal. And so you can't expect to, hey, I love to roar because, it's just who I am, you should do it too.
Right. Well, I find a lot of similarities with our exploration of values and how to leverage values, right? Like, because one could say that there's so many. We could go do extreme activities around living your values to promote what we're trying to do, and then have scientists, study our brains and understand like how we do what we do, and put the science around how it makes us feel and why it makes us either feel better or worse or whatever, and like and how that relates to our health and wellness and well-being, and try to make sense of all this from a
But
scientific
science is
perspective.
still,
But
science is still not. I mean, to me, science is still a very, very loose observations of what we see, because we say, hey,
right,
this little rock is good for you, right? You eat it, hey, you're fine. Another person eat it, they die. So
right.
scientific doesn't apply to human beings,
This is
but human being is so myriad. We have so many different variables. So even the
this is
science,
what
you can
I'm
say, hey, I can test Chris, and yeah, he passed with flying colors. You put True on the treadmill, like he dies, he falls
right.
off the treadmill. So the thing is, it's always the nuances that even in science can't, kind of fit into the little. So no science, no scientific study is gonna be complete. Somebody, like I told you, my body can't handle any plants, right? Your body can, and your body can't take gluten,
Right.
right? Other people can. So it's not like, hey, your body is the same as the other guy's body. But people have been eating wheat all, for like 1,000 years, and
Right.
and for you, you can, because you're different, right? And so scientific is say, hey, this is one standard thing observation we do, and we can test one person and say, if one person reacts this way, that means that I can extrapolate and say everybody's going to be the same. And that to me is a shortcoming of scientific method, and all these things that we think is going to be, hey, it's standardized, it's completely universal, which
Right.
I say it's not.
Well, but that's why this going taking this all back to like what I was saying at the beginning of all this. Like, I felt this incredible connection with Wim Hof and his journey. Like, he wants to help people. Like, that's what he's really doing, is he wants to help people, and he's found a way that he's helped himself and that he wants to share with other people. He found a way to process his pain and to make himself live a life, find a way to live a sustainable life, and he wants to share that with other people, right? You and I, we've found a way to live a life that's sustainable for us, and we want to share it with other people. That thread for me was
Well, the
what
thing is,
connected me
I don't want to share my stuff with anyone. I'm willing to share. I'm not going out there and say, okay, because I'm not going to say, well, I'm doing this because I want to share. If somebody asks me,
right.
I'm willing to tell them, my, whatever I think, my opinions, my journey, whatever. I'm willing. I don't want to, right? So
Yeah,
so that's two separate perspectives, because a lot of people, they go out there and they do something and say, oh, I gotta share this because whatever. For me, like I say, it's different, right? And like I say, it's
I
nothing
agree.
wrong with other, other people that wants to share, because that's how they find value. For me, it's like, I just do what I do, right? I'm not gonna keep something as a secret, but I'm not go out there and say, hey, by the way, Chris, I did this and blah blah blah, whatever. The only reason why I'm saying something is because I know you well, and I know that it may help you because of the interaction that you and I had, right? So that means I would say, well, I read this book, right? This book is really good, and it brings benefits to me. I want to share with you, but anyone I don't know, I'm not gonna go out there and say, hey, by the way, I just go to a party or to
Oh
a
yeah, no,
dinner
for sure.
and say,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah, yeah.
you know about Wim Hof? Yeah, I do Wim Hof. So so the thing is, some people wants
Agreed.
to do that.
100%. Yeah,
For
yeah.
me, it's I don't. If somebody saw me do something stupid and say, hey, why you do that? I'm willing to share, but I'm not go out there and say, hey, I want to share. I have the urge to say things, when no one's inviting and no one's asking.
Agreed. I mean, that's why we're creating content to for ourselves, but
We are
to make
creating
it
content.
public. Well,
We are
it's to make it
creating content for ourselves, so that is
it's
a
to make
reminder
it
for
public,
us.
right?
But
But it's
along the way, it also benefits somebody who wants it. Just like you
exactly.
building a handicap ramp for somebody, but you're not going to prevent the one who can walk from using the ramp.
This is my point. Is what I was saying is like Wim Hof has been exploring his own pain and his own stuff, just like we're exploring our own values and how we can help each other, and then we're sharing that journey with other people. That's what he's doing. If you want to accept it or you don't want to accept it, you want to embrace it, you don't. If it resonates with you, if you don't, like great. Like he's I guess all the whole taking this full circle for me, like just Wim Hof method in general. This was a way that he found a way to live a sustainable life and process his pain and turn it into something that helped to propel him forward with a purpose in life. He then wanted to share that. Like,
yeah,
and however he shared that, that's all he wanted
he's
to do.
willing to share. He doesn't
Right.
necessarily want to share, because in the story, he started practicing all this thing. Like his
He did it for like
son,
25 years by himself. Yeah,
his son is the one that put a camera on him. Say, hey, look, my
right.
dad is doing
Yeah.
this crazy shit, right?
Yeah.
His son is what put him on, and then people start asking him. So to me, he's a respectable guy. He's like, oh, I'm the Wim Hof. I can do all these. You should do this as well. Like, to me, this is why we don't like philosophers, right? Philosopher actually,
he's an action. He's
so
an action.
he does what he does.
Right.
He only answers you when you ask him the question. He's not going to go out there, hey, you should do that. He doesn't enforce his moral and his principle on you like philosophers do, or like psychologists would, hey, you're being a bad person, or So to me, that's a difference. And I want to make sure that there's this distinction between what we do, right? I don't give 2 cents, right? I'm not going to tell you unless you ask, right? You ask me, hey, how am I doing? And say, I'm doing great. And what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. And then you ask me, I'll tell. I'm not going to keep it a secret. I'm willing to tell, but I'm not going out there to tell you unsolicited.
Yeah, you're living your life. You're doing what you're saying. You are walking the walk of the life that you want to live.
You're living.
Right. You're living.
You're living it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And that's similar to what we're trying to do as well. Like this is why I started off this whole reflection about like life hacks and gimmicks and these people on social media and everything. Like you can just smell a fake from a mile away, right? Like and I'm glad that I spent more time with Wim Hof because he's not fake. Like and I can say that he's not fake because like what we're talking about, like he has his soul in the game. He lives this shit every single day.
He lives it. And everything that he did was someone asked him to do it.
Right.
Like all that stuff that you see him do on YouTube, on whatever, people have requested it. So he is not like, that's what I'm saying is I want to make sure that people understand the distinction between like wanting to share versus willing to share. He is willing to share. I am willing to share, but I'm not going to share involuntarily without anyone soliciting my opinion.
Unless it's through your art that you put out into the world and then it's just automatically shared. Like that's the whole point of creating art in the world. And then like the book that I wrote or something like that about Amelia and her life.
It's like we create these documentations, right? It's not closed, it's not locked in a place somewhere. It's visible for anyone who is interested can go and kind of look through. So it's there, but we're not going to put a
I'm not gonna like
come here if you want to change your life. Come here, you got to find your core values,
right?
Exactly. And so the thing is, because if you don't distinguish yourself from the life hackers of the world, life hackers are basically snake salesmen, snake oil salesmen.
Right.
Just gonna sell you some kind of dream, and then they pocket the money and they disappear. Exactly. And so the thing is, like I said, we are probably in the same area, but we need to kind of distinguish between what we do and what other people say we do, right? To me, I don't give 2 cents. If people like what I say,
shits is the word,
right?
No, it's two. I don't give 2 shits. I was just helping you. Hopefully,
if you want to make it graphic, sure.
Well, that's what it is. Is I don't give 2 shits. Not which I don't even know what that means. What does that even mean?
That's why I changed it 2 cents.
Yeah.
No one knows what that means, but they know what I mean. I mean, basically, I don't give a shit.
Right, yeah.
A shit or two shit or three shit or whatever.
Uh, oh,
It's the same thing. I don't give a shit. I don't give two shit. I don't give five shit. I don't give 10 shit.
yeah. Where
I
did
don't
it
give
come
a
from?
thousand shit.
What's with the twos? I guess I don't give a
Because
shit. I
thing is, when
understand.
you give a shit, right? You say, well, I want to make sure I accentuate what I'm saying is I don't give two
I don't give a
shit.
devil shit. Yeah, yeah.
I don't
Devil
get it.
shit.
I don't give a million shit, right?
Right.
So you're gonna accentuate on the already known urban dictionary meaning of the shit. I don't care, right? I don't care is what it means. You emphasize it by saying I don't give a shit, and then you say, well, I want to make sure that people really understand. So I like double or triple emphasize. I don't give two shits,
Right. Right.
and then I don't
So
get three shits, four shits, whatever. But my point is still valid. Is I don't really care, right? I don't. Is this journey is for me and for you. If anyone can see some values, help yourself.
right.
I'm
Yeah.
not going
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
prevent. I'm not going to block you from
Correct.
accessing it, but
Exactly.
I'm not going to throw in your face.
100% agree. Like that is a huge difference, and that is why that's why I read this book. Like that's why I did this thing. If I thought it was just some dude that was just trumpeting a new life hack or whatever, I would have been like, I'm not into this. Like I wouldn't have done it. Like, but like his soul's in the game, and I respect. You can tell when somebody's soul's in the game, and I respect people with soul in the game, and our soul's in the game. And that matters. That's that.
Right, because you have to have your soul in the game so you can maintain that seventh generation airport.
Yeah, because
Because if you don't, like whatever
yeah, you could have turned this
distraction
into a
comes
money
in,
grab or
is
YouTube clicks or
you get
whatever.
distracted.
Yeah,
Like
right,
you diverge from your true core values the answer you found in the beginning, the original reason why you went on this journey in the beginning, you have lost sight of that. So the
yeah,
answer you found is no longer there. You completely drifted away from the answers and you are looking for profits, for clicks, for views,
right.
for passive comments, for accolades or whatever. And to
Something.
me,
Yeah,
you are not living your core values anymore. You're living somebody else's
right.
image of what you should be. Remember, there's a book about somebody's. When you remember the book, somebody's is like saying, it's a long time ago. I forgot, but they're
What was it about?
like
I mean,
you mean like somebody has an image of this person already, and he's trying to reinvent himself as something different, and
like method acting.
no,
Will
it's
Smith. Yeah.
no, it's a pretty far back. So I don't recall exactly, but I kind of vaguely remember that somebody is you know was known for something, and then he tries to do something different. People keep forcing him back to that same that is the same role.
I don't know. Nothing comes to mind off the
Because
top of my head.
once you're known for something, right? People
Yeah,
expect you
yeah,
to be in that role,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And it's
Um,
hard to break out of it. And so
yeah,
that's the thing is, once you get to the point where you have become this guy that makes money or that brings view, whatever, then you start go back to your core values because your core values change, right? So you found the answer to whatever life question that you
Oh,
had.
Kevin Smith. That's what you were wanting to talk about.
Yes, yes,
Kevin Smith, the movie maker, and
yes, exactly. Yes,
and they kept making him. They wanted him to keep recreating
yes.
what he did before, and he was like, I already did that, and I want to go do something different. But he was like, it felt trapped, and he was like, I got really good at making movies, but like I got really bad at probably making the stuff that I wanted to make, and that was when he decided to start doing like his podcast
Right.
and stop making movies and directing and
Right, but my point is that once you drifted into this role, right,
mhm.
you are expected. So for you to go back to being who you were and who you should be is struggle. It is struggle
Yeah,
for you,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so that's
Agreed.
why you want to come out and declare to the world what it is the answer you want, what it is that you want people to view you as, so that they support you.
Mhm.
Like the universe conspire to help you achieve what you want, but you
Right.
start listening to other people, and because the people may not understand you or may not even like you, right? They shifted you towards something you're not. they created you. They created you a different persona, and that
Right.
persona is like, you're talking about like companies nowadays, right? In the beginning, it's all about culture, about this, and then it start to sell the company, and the company becomes, say, it's all about answering to the shareholders, all
Right.
about making profits or whatever. And then we're talking about family. We are one big family, and then certainly, hey, we only make $16 billion instead of $17 billion. I gotta let go 100,
Yeah.
10,000 of you. Like
Yeah.
that's that's what I see,
Yeah.
right? You look at big companies, we're a big family. Well, you're still making 16 fucking $billion, right? It's short of the quote unquote the expectations of
Right.
the analysts of
Of some random dude,
16.5 or
yeah,
some,
right. Yeah.
and they say, well, we have to cut costs. So yeah, so what the hell you do with the $16 billion?
Right.
Right? The
Yeah.
CEO get like half a billion, 500 million, and then the investors getting like a couple $1 billion, and then these workers, they quote unquote your family, get laid off.
Right.
I mean, so that to me is you become something completely different than the original intent of what brought you from where you were into this person, this new persona, this new character, new entity.
Agreed. Yeah.
And for you to go back, let's say now, and I say, well, I'll go back and become a family again. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. It's impossible, but it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, I totally agree. Awesome. I feel like this is good spot to end for the night. If you're cool with it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's
So
always tomorrow,
yeah,
and the
always
next day, and the
and
next day, and the next day. So
we're gonna continue our Wim Hof discussion tomorrow too. So it'll be fun part two to
okay.
talk about what I learned during my month actually of Wim Hof. So looking forward to that. The question we can leave with everybody is what does it take to make you feel comfortable enough to take a risk on something new? Just something to ponder, something to think about, and looking forward to part two tomorrow.
Yeah.
Before we go, I got to leave you with something really fast, actually, because I meant to mention this when we were talking about the whole the etymology of I don't give two shits. Like where does that even come from? I was in a meeting today with my just like a like a department meeting or whatever, and somebody was giving like an enablement presentation, and oh no, this new company we just acquired was giving a presentation on their services, and they were introducing themselves to the team, and somebody said, we really handled all from soup to nuts, and I go, I don't know why, like I heard that, I go, what the hell does that mean? Like soup, like do you know what soup to nuts means? I had to look this up. Like, do you know what it means?
No.
Do you
I
have
don't
any
give a shit. I don't give a shit.
what about two shits?
I don't probably don't give you 5 shits.
5 shits. 5 shits. Okay. All right. So I'll just tell you, because I had to look this one up, because I was like, I was like racking my brain going like, what does soup to nuts mean? I was like, and I know it means from beginning to end. I know what the it's supposed to stand for. It's like from soup to nuts. It's like from beginning to end. Like people always say, yeah, we handle things from beginning to end. Like soup to nuts. And I'm always like, yeah. Like I just nod, because I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. It's soup to nuts. But like I understand what they mean by it. But I'm like, what does that mean? Like and
So you
I looked
start with
it
a
up.
soup and you end with the nuts.
Yeah, so I was like, I was trying to rack my brain. It's like, why would that? How do you draw the line between soup and nuts? And as I looked it up, apparently in formal dinners, you start off eating a formal dinner usually with soup, which makes sense. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Okay.
I mean, like I understand that, but you eat nuts as your dessert, like as your last course, like that's a formal dinner. You eat nuts, like I'm like that's. I was like, what? In what fucking world do you eat nuts?
I thought that's an appetizer.
I do. That's why I said, like, I don't understand this phrase, soup to nuts. I was like who eats nuts for dessert? Like, I mean, honestly, who does that? I don't care how formal you are.
I mean, you eat nuts, but you eat it for appetizer. You eat peanuts, you eat pecans, whatever for appetizer. It's like a snack.
Dessert at the ends of meals. All right. Who puts nuts in not in desserts? It's yeah.
But there's nuts on dessert, but doesn't mean all dessert has nuts.
Fruits and nuts with ancient calling for ancient authority for the gospel. Blah 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 blah.
like I say, I don't give five shit.
Yeah, I know. I don't care. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Good,
I don't
good night.
eat. I don't eat. I don't eat nuts for
Fair enough.
desserts.
We're good. We're parched tonight. All right. Have a good night.
Okay. Good night.